Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in once again to your exclusive home of the Giles County High School Bobcat Coaches Show, coming to you live from Kitchen 218. We're presented, as always, by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics, LLC. It's good to be with you for our second week right here on YouTube, our Pulaski Citizen YouTube live channel. Alongside my main man, Chris Bledsoe, I'm Neely. Glad to be with you. Chris, we made it through the first week, partner. How you doing? How you surviving?
Hey, we made it through the first week. We're back here again. Super excited to be here. I had an exciting week of football last week, a great coaches show. And for me, I love this way, doing it on Wednesday, because football comes a little earlier when we got these coaches shows. So super excited. We've got a group of coaches here from all over the county. So it's going to be a fun night, man.
We're excited about it. We've got a huge show to get into. We didn't know how we could really top last week's show, but we're going to try our best tonight, partner, as Giles County does get a big win last week, 35-21 at the Brickyard. We're going to break things down throughout the night. We'll talk about that game. We'll talk a little middle school. We've got members of the Bridgeforth Bobcats coaching staff here tonight. They got a big win last night, going on the road and knocking off Loretto. So a whole lot to get into. We're even going to hand out some hardware. Just when you thought we couldn't raise the bar enough, we're going to do it all here tonight in our very second show.
And listen, you hit the nail on the head. I didn't think it could get any better than what it did last week, and it just seems to keep improving week after week. Big performances by middle school groups, both in the northern end of the county as well as here in the southern end. Just super excited. And like you said, anytime we get a chance to hand out a little hardware and some good food from the fine folks here at Kitchen 218, we're always super excited about that. So stay tuned, folks. It's going to be a fun night of high school football here. We're
excited for you, and we're excited for everybody tuning in. If you can't catch our show live, if a lot of folks are texting you saying, how can I tune in? Don't worry. This link will live on YouTube really for eternity. So we got a chance to catch up with you guys for a long time here. Again, we're sponsored by Leadership Logistics, LLC, our good friend Jeff Bain and the quality folks there. We're going to take our first commercial time out. When we come back, Chris and I will break down what was a fun week last week. And we're also going to welcome in members of the Bridgeforth Bobcats coaching staff. So don't go anywhere. You're listening and watching exclusive coverage of the Bobcat Coaches Show presented by Leadership Logistics, LLC. We're back after this.
Logistics LLC is an agency that helps companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you. Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose: to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
Citizen Media is everywhere. Get daily news, sports, and obituary updates in the Pulaski Citizen e-edition at PulaskiCitizen.com. Pulaski Citizen Live offers video and audio streaming of local sports, local meetings, and community events. Pulaski Citizen Social lets you know when and where the next event or update can be found. Love to hold that paper in your hand? The same Pulaski Citizen newspaper that's been printed since 1854 is available each week by subscription or on newsstands throughout Giles County. Tell your story with Citizen Media.
Pulaski Citizen Live is doing Giles County sports and community events like they've never been done before. Video of local government meetings and community events, as well as streaming of high school, middle school, and youth league games. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, and more are all on the PCL schedule throughout the year. Get your game called by the most recognized sports announcers in Giles County. So are you looking for your next meeting, event, or game? Make sure you tune in to Pulaski Citizen Live on YouTube and on the Mixler app. If you've been watching during the commercial break, Chris and I like to pull off a little acrobatics here. So we brought him over to the good side of the table, my friend.
Little Houdini act every chance we get an opportunity. Love to be beside you, partner.
Hey, ain't no doubt about it. Real quickly, Chris, we do want to mention, again, we talked about it, and we'll hear from Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. D coordinator Tanner Holly is here as well tonight. But the Bridgeforth Bobcats all three middle schools were in action last night. 2 of the 3 getting wins. South Giles with a good win, and then Bridgeforth, obviously a commanding victory over Loretto last night. Richland Falls at home, but 2 out of 3 not so bad as we get good middle school results last night.
It's not a bad night of middle school football, as you mentioned, Wade. Anytime you have your feeder schools that are producing at that level, it's great because, again, if your feeder schools are performing at a high level, eventually they're going to be on your high school team, and that's great. That's a huge asset to have, so kudos to them. South Giles in a tough victory last night against a talented Cornersville team. 14-0, I believe, final score there, which is a huge win for them. And then you look at what Bridgeforth was able to do on last night, 38-0 against a talented Loretto group. Made a deep run last year. So, again, kudos to those guys for performing well last night.
Ain't no doubt about it. And just as soon as we can tear him away from the cheesecake, we're going to get head coach Brian Hollister over here. He's got some food in front of him. We are coming to you live from Kitchen 218. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented all season long by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics. And we will welcome on Coach Brian Hollister here as Coach. First of all, let's just let the record show this young man had food out before anybody here, and he went dessert first, which I really admire in a young man. Now you had some comments there. Let's bring those.
I was just helping her eat it.
You were doing a fantastic job, and we wouldn't expect anything less. So, real quickly, Coach, Chris touched on it a moment ago. Seemed like you guys from top to bottom played lights out last night.
That was probably our most complete game all season. We started off with a pretty good game, opened up against Hardin County, but last night they were firing on all cylinders offensively, running the ball, throwing the ball. Defensively, they just played shutdown defense. We've got our twin towers up front with Bryce Rivers and Carter Garrett, and they flat out shut them down in the middle, and our defensive backs cleaned up the rest of it. So it was a great game.
You hit the nail on the head. You've got probably one of the most dominant front fours, if you will, in all of middle school football. What you see from the likes of Bryce Rivers and Carter Garrett, obviously those two stature-wise stand out.
Right.
But, again, it's a team effort there. Talk to us about those other 4 guys that kind of fill in and make this thing happen.
It really is a team effort. Like Bryce and Carter up front. We'll have Devin Wilburn on the defensive end on one side, Malachi Hill on the other side. Our linebackers, Octavian Howard, we call him Pancake, Elijah Miles, and we also have another fill-in there. Cam Beats fills in there, outside linebackers, and we had a player out with injury, so we had to fill in with Todd Gardner coming down from safety, and we moved Xavier Randolph over to linebacker there. So those front 8 really just set the tone for most of the game, and then outside at the cornerbacks and safeties, they really kind of kept them from being able to throw the ball. We had one play where they kind of bit up a little bit, but after that it was nothing in the backfield.
You hit the nail on the head. One of the names that you mentioned we've heard over the last 3 weeks since this year has been going on, and that's Todd Gardner.
Right.
Todd Gardner, again, you mentioned moving down from the safety spot, having to play in a little bit of a different position defensively last night. However, there is video evidence of him with the interception on last night. Talk to us about what he does for your team, both defensively and offensively.
Defensively and offensively, he's such a smart kid, offensively and defensively. Just football knowledge, just beyond what should have at this age. Really understands the game. Really knows what he's doing, where he's supposed to be on the field. Can direct some of the other players if they don't know where they're supposed to be on the call. He can kind of set them up and put them in the right spot. Offensively, he's a threat at running back. He's a threat at wide receiver. That's one of the things we were able to do yesterday was kind of move him over to a wide receiver spot and put Darion London back as a running back, which really opened up a lot of the running game on the outside because we've got Damari Allen running the sweep, we've got Todd running the sweep, Darion running the dives down the middle, and then the passing game just really opened up last night with that configuration. So.
Good stuff. We're talking with Brian Hollister. He is the head coach of the Bridgeforth Bobcats. Huge win last night. Coach, I want to ask you, Loretto, kind of a team that used to be kind of a fun old-school rivalry of Giles County. They used to play even at the high school level in our region, and this is something we're kind of trying to reignite. Talk to us a little bit about your schedule. You and I spoke in the preseason with the way the conference kind of got realigned. You guys are picking up some of those old-school rivals again.
Right, and this was actually my first time ever to Loretto. I'm not a native of Giles County. I'm come up from around Nashville area, moved down here 8 years ago. But this was my first trip to Loretto. And, of course, I was talking to Coach Cotton out there, and he said, Coach, we lost 27 8th graders last year. And I'm thinking, my God, that's my entire team.
Right.
27 players, and that's what he lost last year. So I'm thinking we're going to go in and we're going to be looking at a JUCO team. And, numbers-wise, they were pretty good. They were down a little bit skill-wise, but they still played a hard game, We have had to pick up a few of the older games. We're going. We had Hardin County come in this week. We're traveling. Waynesboro's going to be traveling in. We're actually traveling all the way to Bledsoe County, I believe, to Bell Buckle to play web school. We had to pick up some games because of the conference realignment in Murray County that we've been in for 2 years. So it's been a bit of a challenge, but we were able to salvage our Richland game, we salvaged our Kaufman game, and we salvaged our Lewisburg game. Those three we kind of kept in place and just backfield with the other team. So it worked out to our advantage. We've got a decent schedule, not an easy schedule by any means, particularly with those three. But it's not a lightweight schedule either. So our boys are going to get some challenges, in places where they might not expect to get challenges. So it's really going to be a good season to watch them play.
We're pumped for you, and we're excited about the big win last night. And
thank you very much.
We'll get you out of here. And just on this last one, we'll bring in your guru offensively, if you will, to talk to Mr. Gardner here. But I do want to ask, you mentioned on the road for a couple of weeks now. You got one last night. You got a couple more coming up. But then you mentioned that big Richland game. That's one that we're going to carry on Pulaski Citizen Live. Right. That's one I think the whole community is probably salivating a little bit about trying to come out and check you guys out.
We're hoping so. We have not been able to play Richland for the last 2 years because of all of the COVID mess. They were in quarantine, or we were in quarantine, or there was injuries, or there was all kinds of mess going on there. We've had to forfeit, basically lose that game for the last 2 years. So this has been a big 3-year buildup, and we're really looking forward to getting that game. Of course, it's a home game for us, which is, come on out, eat some food, get some Kona ice, and watch some good football. We're really, really excited about that game. I've got that one circled on the calendar myself. That's our homecoming game, so we're looking to make a big show of that one.
Ain't no doubt. Coach, thank you as always for your time. Welcome into your first appearance on the Coaching Show. We're going to have you back if that's okay, as long as you promise to bring us a little bit of dessert next time as well.
We'll see if we can get you some chocolate pie.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Didn't like he ate it all before he got over here, Wade. He could have brought it over.
That was my wife's pie,
welcoming
my wife's
gift.
cake, so I was just helping out on the edges.
We'll see what little bit remains. Thank you for your time as always, Coach. We'll catch up with you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much. That is the head coach of the Bridgeforth Bobcats, Brian Hollister, joining us. We're going to welcome in offensive coordinator David Garner here in just 1 second. And Chris, a lot to like about the win from Bridgeforth last night. Now 2-1 on the season. The one game that they did lose, you were on the broadcast that night. Realistically, probably should have won that game. We could be talking about an undefeated regular season thus far for the Bobcats.
You're right. This is a group that's absolutely loaded with talent, offensively and defensively. They've got some outstanding kids that can really play the game at a high level. Some kids that by default have been fortunate to watch over the years kind of grow through the ranks, if you will, going back to some Red Hawk football days. This is a lot of those group of kids that have been, again, just being groomed for what we're seeing now offensively, again, as well as defensively. For anybody that's out there listening, if you have not had a chance to see Carter Garrett or Bryce Rivers up front, there probably isn't two defensive linemen in all of middle school football, state or nationwide, with the size that those two have and the physicality that they play with. That's something that is super important. And then Coach also touched on it. Todd Gardner, what he gives you is it's absolutely unreal. To have a kid with that type of IQ is super amazing. And the scariest thing, Wade, he's just a 7th grader. He's got another year of middle school football left to play.
Blows my mind every time. And we do want to talk offense. We welcome in the offensive coordinator, Mr. David Gardner. And Coach, first of all, congrats on a big win last night, my friend. You made it look easy on the road over there at Loretto.
Yes, we just thank y'all, man. We just went out there and then had fun. Put out a complete game.
Yeah, I heard you kind of talking to Coach O'Connor a second ago. You said, it actually seemed like it was a complete game in many ways for you guys.
Right. We start off hot, and then the second half we cool off. Last night we put it together, and man, we talked halftime. We talked about, hey, let's don't cool off. Let's stay hot and stay after of it. And we came out and stayed after of it. And a young guy stepped up. Had a center, David Wilburn. He came up first time center, and he came up and done the job, man. And there were no turnovers. Last game I think we had 5 turnovers. Can't win like that.
Can't win playing Santa Claus. And you kind of touched on it, Coach. Something I was getting ready to speak about here. Talk to us about the week of preparation. Obviously, you have a game last Tuesday against a talented Spring Hill group. Yes. However, without a doubt, you take away those turnovers and you score on those possessions, that's probably a 3 or 4 touchdown win ball game. Talk to us about the preparation, what you guys spoke to your kids about, and how they responded, obviously, with the big win last night.
We talked about when you get down, you can't give up. They got down, the lack of effort. We lost that hunger, because we are up. I think we were 12-6.
At halftime, you're right.
At halftime, we were up 12-6, come out, got a onside kick. We recovered that, and then we fumbled.
Yeah.
They went down and scored. Air went out of us. Get the ball back. They kick off, we get the ball back, we fumble. But we went in talking about it was a learning experience. Let's don't get down. We gave the game away. It was like you say, it was Christmas. We gave the game away, but let's build on it. Let that be a loss that we learn from, and I think we learned from it. We made some adjustment, and it was a good adjustment.
Well, again, they say numbers don't lie. You have a performance like you did last Tuesday, turning it over against a talented Spring Hill group. Then you go over to Loretto and play in what was as probably a perfect of a ball game as you could have, especially this early in the season.
Yes.
Again, talk to the credit to your kids. Again, not only being able to execute, but being able to receive that coaching from not only you and Coach Hollister, but Coach Witt as well as Coach Randolph.
Right. Man, what happened, man, we got to talking. The kids came out. We talked about the adjustment, okay. Coach Witt, we seen some things on defense that he made some adjustment with, and they bought into it. We was at the right place, but we didn't do a lot of
we didn't do a lot of the right things.
The right thing, And so we worked on that, and man, they bought into it, and they really, really. Coach Witt's a good guy. I'm gonna tell you, they love him, man. And so he got them in. They bought into it, and they executed. Offensively, I thought we was boxed in. You put Todd in the backfield, he's boxing in. So I spread him out a little bit, got some other guys, and it opened up other guys. When you spread Todd out, they look at him. These other guys, they stepped up, ran the ball, caught Damari Allen. Man, he had a great game.
He can play, man.
Yes.
He can play.
Yes.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, Coach. And, again, we'll try to let you get out of here. But talk to us again about it, because it's a name we keep hearing, Todd Gardner. I don't know if there's any relation there between you two or not. We'll talk about that off the air. But, again, we keep hearing that name repetitively. Talk about what he does for you as an offensive player away from the football and how it helps build confidence and open up for the other guys.
He's a magnet. Everybody thinks he's going to get the ball because he do good things when he do get the ball.
Yes, sir.
So they try to keep him from getting the ball. So sometimes I use him as decoy. So I act like he's getting the ball. That's freeing up somebody else because he get double team and triple team. So somebody's got to be open. And we ain't a selfish ball club. We ain't going to force nothing.
There you go.
We give it to the ones who's open. And what I like about Todd, he helps the other kids. He gets them where they need to be, because we always talk about bringing kids up to your level.
Gotcha.
If you want to be a championship team, bring everybody up. Don't bring down I'm always up and you're down. No, bring everybody up to your level, and you'll have a championship team. And he take that role real good, being a leader.
He's been fantastic for the Bobcats. One of the most explosive playmakers I've seen at middle school in a long time. And the good news is we get to see not just one this. David Gardner, we're excited that you joined us here. We'll let you get back to the table and the coaching staff. Again, we want to congratulate you on a big win last night.
Yes.
Still got some big games coming up, and we're going to broadcast a few of them on PCL. Thank you, as always, for your time.
We want to thank y'all. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. David Gardner is the offensive coordinator of the Bridgeforth Bobcats. They got a good win last night versus Loretto. Always good when you get to beat Loretto. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Listen, that used to be, and again, I know this is going to show our age a little bit here, Mr. Neely, but we both can remember it. Freshman year, I can remember going over there playing basketball in that little box that they call a gym over there. And there's not a lot of atmospheres like it over there, man. So always good to see a local county school get a win over Loretto.
Huge win last night for the Bridgeforth Bobcats. Coming up next week, we hope to speak to members of the South Giles Eagles coaching staff. They got a big win last night. David Bridges with a rushing touchdown in the first half, and then he ran a kickoff back in the second half. They win it 14-0. Tip of the cap to the South Giles Eagles. You are listening and watching the Giles County High School Bobcats Coaches Show, presented as always by Leadership Logistics LLC. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll shift gears a little bit. We'll get into the high school game. We'll break down Lincoln County last week, and we will talk with Bobcats head coach David O'Connor about a big one coming up this Friday versus Nolensville. Much, much more still to come as, again, you are listening and watching exclusive Bobcat Coaches Show coverage live from Kitchen 218, brought to you by Leadership Logistics.
Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency that helps companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you. Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose: to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Continued coverage of the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented all season long by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics LLC. Jeff Bain is in the house tonight. We salute him. Thank you to Mr. Bain for being here. Proud sponsor of the Raider and Bobcat Coaches Show. There will be no Raider Coaches Show this week, as we'll talk with Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. But the Richland Raiders got a huge win last week versus Cornersville. They have a week 2 bye, and then we'll resume our coverage with them next week. We bring in the man himself. He is joining us for a second straight week. Coach David O'Connor, congrats on a big win last week, my friend.
It was a huge win, Wade. I appreciate you guys for calling the game. I was able to go back and listen to that. It was a really good call.
Man, thank you for saying that, and it was fun. Obviously, it's easy to call when it's an entertaining ball game, Coach, and you guys made it entertaining, probably made it a little closer than you would have liked. You go back and you watch the tape. I'm looking at some offensive numbers here. You guys had almost 500 yards of total offense, over 300 yards rushing. What clicked for you guys down the stretch? Because you trailed 3 different times. You tied it up all 3 times. You win it with 14 in the fourth quarter.
Well, early in the game, I felt like we kind of we kind of kicked ourselves a little bit. We got a couple holding calls that brought back some touchdowns. We had a muff punt that we lose, just a couple things like that really took us away from being able to put the game away a little earlier than we did. But, again, kudos to Lincoln County. They came out, played physical. You could see the new energy with the new coaching staff over there, and Coach Cunningham's done a really good job with them.
Coach, you mentioned it there. That game was a lot of adversity, a lot of up and down in that ball game there. Tell us, how much did you learn about your ball club and some of your, as we like to say, baby Bobcats who are getting some of their first opportunity in week 1 in that ball game? Well,
we do have a lot of young guys that have not played a lot, but we also have several guys that were in a lot of games last year. So, I think the older guys, the guys that we need, the Layden Kincaids, the Amari Smiths, even though he's a junior, some of those other juniors, Randolph, Kamari Turner, then defensively, Reed Owens, Cheese Gordon, Bryson Gordon, those guys led by example, and it's guys like that help you win those type games.
It's huge for you when you see those guys be able to perform at that level and kind of step up there. You go back to the ball game, something that, again, we talk about as often as we can. There's a point where we tied up 21-21. We talked about this a little bit Friday night in the postgame show. There's a little incident in the end zone. Student station maybe gets a little too rowdy for the referee's comfort. And before we know it, the Bobcat faithful have kind of come to their feet. Talk about what that atmosphere does for your kids in a game like that was teetering either direction.
Well, you can watch an NFL game, you can watch a college game, you watch a game at any level. When the energy in the stadium or that atmosphere, it just radiates to the players on the field. And that 12th man that we had Friday night, it was just off the charts. And that 12th man, if we need them, that same group to show up in Nolensville this week for sure. Because I'm telling you, that group is and that energy that brought on after that touchdown is what changed the whole complexion of the game, just like you said.
Massive win for the Bobcats. They're all obviously big wins, but seemed like that when Lincoln County goes down, scores first, and the Cats answer. But it seemed like the pressure was on the Cats, and they answered the bell on 3 different occasions. I imagine it's got to feel pretty comforting coming out with the win, knowing you didn't necessarily play your best game on Friday night.
We did not play our best game. We, and you go back and you watch film and you think, well, that looked really good, and then you watch it on video. There's a lot of things we can still improve, and they usually it normally say that the biggest improvements between game 1 and game 2. So I'm hoping we have some big improvement for this week.
I like what I saw. Chris and I talked about it off air a lot. The confidence of Kamari, play calling, I should say, for Kamari Turner. He came in, started every game as a sophomore, kind of slowly started unleashing him. It seemed like last week you guys really kind of turned loose of the offense with him, including that 3rd and 20 late in the fourth quarter, essentially with the game on the line. You guys call a pass play.
Oh, no doubt. And believe it or not, he is a really good passer. He's pretty – he has such moxie for the game, such charisma for the game that he picks up on all that stuff well. And it just has good relationships with all those receivers, and they have a little bit of feel together, and they make good plays together.
There ain't no doubt. Hey, speaking of quarterbacks, Chris and I have been doing a little scouting, and we got Nolensville coming in. Nolensville's got a fantastic offense, and it seems like it flows with their quarterback, Kobe Walton. That kid, he put up big numbers against Giles County at home last week. What can you tell us about that explosive offense of Nolensville?
That's right. If you were a Bobcat fan and you were in the Brickyard last year when we played Nolensville, I guess he threw for about 500 yards last year. That dude can flat spin it, and he's got some receivers that can go get it and make plays. He'll throw a lot of 5-yard hitches that turn into touchdowns for 70-yard touchdowns. They've got a Fitzgerald kid as a receiver that's off the charts. He's been offered. I think he may have been committed to Marshall, either Marshall or Liberty. I can't remember, but he is a 6'1", 190, and he can flat roll.
You talked about it, Coach, with what they do offensively, obviously being able to spread it around. We've got defensive coordinator Tanner Holly. We'll talk to him a little bit here later on, but talk to us about. Obviously, we touched on Kamari and what he was able to do last week, but we've got a tailback in Exorion Randolph who is up for the Tennessean Player of the Week, if you will, with a outstanding performance, 161 yards rushing. I do believe 3 touchdowns.
I believe we had him for a few more yards than that, but it's
160. We'll get the official statistician to give us the numbers there, but again, regardless, he is up for that award. Talk to us about what he does for your group and having that super performance.
I tell you what he does. He makes you put one more man in the box to stop the run game. Well, a combination of he and Kamari's running abilities. They both are really good runners. It's tough to defend an offense that's got a quarterback that can run, a running back that can run, and then we've got good receivers out there with Tonto and DJ and those guys out on the perimeter that make you defend the pass. It's just, we really have – I feel like we have an explosive offense, and I tell our kids all the time that when we punt, we're really just admitting failure because there's no reason for us to ever punt when you got many good athletes out there and weapons as we have.
You hit the nail on the head. There's many athletes and all the super weapons that you have. Obviously, a team that really likes to, I call it OC playoff football. When we line up in the smokestack eye, if you will, we're running this trap. Either you can block it or you can't. You can stop us or you can't. Talk to us about the development. I know we talked about it the first week of that second back, because I know we like the two-headed monster. Where are we at in that process and what that look like for you guys?
Well, we're still working to find that next back, to be honest. We've got some young guys that are coming, like KT's brother, Junior. Real name Damon, but we call him Junior.
Yes, sir.
He's making some strides. He's still a little ways away from being a guy that we can depend on Friday nights and in the playoff competition against that level of competition. But DJ Garner's another guy that could step in there and be that extra back. We've worked a little bit with Trey Ballantyne, who has run the ball some. So we've got some other options there, but you hate to go too far away from those two good ones.
You're exactly right. And last question, Coach, then we'll let you get out of here for a moment. Don't leave on us. But we missed Dre Daly last week due to an injury. And number 26, Dylan Williams, who steps up and has some huge catches for us in that ball game. Again, talk to us about the emergence of Dylan Williams last week.
It's a great feeling. I'm going to tell you what, you see the ball in there and you think, holy cow, whoa, who's it? Dylan made really nice hand catches. just big plays in crucial situations. You got to appreciate the ice water Dylan had in his veins.
Huge performance last week, man.
He looked great. And final question on my end, Coach. We're going to hand out a couple of plaques here in a little bit for our scout and our special teams. We're going to let Tanner do the hardware ceremonies there.
Perfect guy for it. A perfect guy.
Absolutely. Couldn't think of anyone better. But I do want to ask you, we will give a little bit of a spoiler. It would be easy to give it out to Chase Carden. Honestly, he could win it every single week going away. But what did you see, and how impressed were you? Two particular plays with a coffin corner punt to put Lincoln County back late, and then after a penalty after the touchdown, he boots it over the return man's head, and he pins it at around the 2-yard line. Just fantastic effort from your kicker last week.
Oh, no doubt. Chase Carden is – I think he's been going to these kicking camps, and I think he's rated as a 4-star kicker now, and
oh, wow.
You get to see that every Friday night. Probably, when you watch our game, one of the best players on our whole team, and there's nothing better than having a good kicker where the other defense has to go 80 yards the other offense has to go 80 yards every time they get the ball, because our guy's going to be kicking that in the end zone.
He had a great game last week. The Cats got a big win. Like you said, Lincoln County, you know them as well as anybody. They are a much-improved team. Congrats on a big win. We're going to get a final prediction from you on the flip side.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to welcome in Tanner Holly. He's the defensive coordinator for the Bobcats. Coach, we'll see you in just a second, brother.
He's got a big challenge this week. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, he's going to earn his paycheck this week. Tanner Holly's going to join us in one quick second. We're going to take a timeout. You are listening and watching exclusive coverage of the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented all season long by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics, LLC. We'll be back with Tanner Holly on the other side of this timeout from Kitchen 218.
Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency that helps companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you. Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose: to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
We are back here on the Leadership Logistics LLC Bobcat Coaches Show, coming to you live from Kitchen 218 alongside Chris Bledsoe. I'm Wade Neely. Our producer offsite tonight is Mr. Scott Stewart. We're also produced by Carrie Jane Malone. And we welcome in defense coordinator Tanner Holly. Coach, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. Wonderful.
Now, the last time I saw you, well, I guess other than last Friday night, but one of the last times I saw you, we were in Murfreesboro at the state track meet where you had not one but two young men competing,
yes,
Reed Owens and Tyreek Brown, and they both played great games Friday night for the Bobcats.
Yes, they did. They're both phenomenal athletes. They both do a lot of things that we ask of them and a little bit that we don't ask of them, and you can't ask more of them than what they give us, and I'm glad to see that their off-season work is showing up on the field Friday night, so that's always a good thing to see.
No doubt about it, and we'll let Chris jump in with the hard-hitting stuff here in a second. But I got to ask you, you go back, you watch tape. What were your preliminary thoughts after the Lincoln County game last week?
Well, I was pleased after watching the game. I thought Lincoln County was much improved, very much improved, and we've talked on that earlier. But they came out and they were a physical team. I was pleased to see that our guys stepped in there and matched the physicality. Won the battle at the end. We adjusted well when we had to make adjustments. Our kids stepped up, made plays when they needed to be made, and I was relatively pleased with how we played Friday night. I was excited to see that.
Coach, I had an opportunity to run into you sooner than that interstate tournament again. I saw you last Saturday at the golf course, the B.J. England Memorial Golf Tournament. Shout out to Mr. Bobby Claude England. Thank you for all that you do for our program here. But again, saw you there. We had a little bit a chance to talk about it. Still very fresh, obviously. One of the words that we used was getting punched in the mouth. And you know, that first drive, they kind of come out there and it's like, who is this? Because it's not who we thought. We were talk to us about how your kids responded in that moment and what they were able to do the rest of that ball game.
They definitely brought a little bit more than we thought they were going to bring to begin with. But I was pleased. You know, that has been a question mark for us all going through the summer, going through the fall camp. We were 4 leaders down really from last year. How were these guys going to step up? What was going to happen when it wasn't going your way? and I was pleased. Our seniors stepped up front. The D-line played phenomenal. Our linebackers played downhill. We put some guys in, and guys that hadn't got a lot of game reps at linebacker that played downhill, trusted their instincts, trusted their reads, made some plays in the secondary. We put a lot of pressure on them because we couldn't give them a lot of help because we had to stop the run, and Dangerfield and Cheetah Brown and DJ back in the back end made some good plays, and it was good to see that we come together as a unit and match that physicality, won the overall battle at the end, and didn't quit. I was thrilled to see that.
It's always great to see, and super early in the season. It seems like week 1 and week 2 is like the theatric week for you guys. So you go back to last year, week 2, we come in, we've got Nolensville, and that might have been the best game that took place all year long at the Brickyard. Again, talk to us about how excited you are to see your kids, because in that ball game last Friday, you had some leaders, kids that were a part of the team last year that had to become leaders in a situation like they did Friday night.
Yeah, I'm fired up for the challenge that Nolensville brings. I think the strength of our team, I'm not taking anything away from up front, but the guys we got returning are in the back end. And so I think, and that's what Nolensville does well, is throw the ball around. So hopefully we can execute well, we can play well. Those guys can play fast, they can play loose, get some eyes on them. They're obviously going to be tough to slow down. I don't know if OC touched on it. They've got quarterback that's got 4 or 5, group of 5 offers. Receivers got some power 5 offers. Up front, they're solid. Running back's really good. It's going to be a tough challenge for us, but I'm excited to see our guys come out. They've done well all week. They know that the challenge is in front of them. Hopefully we can execute again tomorrow. We'll have a good solid walkthrough on Friday, and hopefully we can go out and put on a show Friday. I'm excited to see.
That's always exciting. One of the things that you played the game at a high level. You've also coached the game now at an outstanding program here. What does it do for you as a coach to know you have a group of kids that will compete? You can't teach competitive nature. You can't teach hard. What does that do for you each and every week, knowing you've got some dogs out there that are going to show up to fight?
Me and all the coaches talk about it all the time, man. We got some guys, just get them to the game. Those guys, man, when the lights go on, they flip the switch, and that is a great blessing to have, that our kids are competitive, that they care for one another, that they got enough pride in their name and in the Giles County name, and in the work that they put in, that they go out there and lay it on the line every Friday night. And that is always exciting to see, because like you said, we can do everything, but at the end of the day, the coaches can't play. Right? My days of playing are over. OC's days of playing are over.
We wish we could get you back out there, man.
I would like to go back sometime. But at the end, it comes down to the kids. And what do the kids want to be said about this group of kids? And they do a good job at handling that, and they try to put the right foot forward in everything that they do. And they put on a good show every Friday night so far. So I'm excited for, 2 days now.
Yeah, we get you.
48 hours.
Yeah,
we get you. We get you. We're chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
We get you in on a Wednesday. Final thought, Coach. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but Lincoln County threw the ball a little bit. Seems like we're going to do a complete 180. Seems like we're going to see a lot. You've touched in the offseason. Secondary, kind of a strength of the Cats. What sort of adjustments are you looking, or did you already maybe even start making some of those adjustments in the offseason, looking for an explosive team like you got on Nolensville coming in?
We definitely always try to stay ahead, and Nolensville was one of those teams we started prepping for because they gashed us a little bit last year. I think we started preparing for them a little probably in early June at the routes that gave us fits and the coverages that we were in. We started trying to match those, get our kids on the same page, how we're going to handle this, what is our check to this. It's definitely tough. We put a lot of challenge, just like I said last week, we had to put a challenge on the secondary because we needed more hats in the box. This week, put the challenge on the D-line and our 1/2 inside linebackers. You got to stop the run. We can't devote a lot of hats to you because there's a lot of stuff coming over the top. And so far, we've improved every day in the secondary. Our pass, what we call pass skelly, has gotten a lot better. Our coverage checks have gotten better. Our matching has gotten better. So hopefully it all comes together on Friday night, and hopefully we can go make some plays.
Ain't no doubt about it. And you touched on the previous question from Chris about the leadership and a great group of quality kids. One thing that we're excited, our show is sponsored every week by Leadership Logistics, LLC, trying to promote that growth and that leadership. And Jeff Bain and the fine folks said, what if we gave out an award? And this is something that used to happen a lot with the Bobcat teams, and we want to kind of get in on the fun too. We've awarded want to recognize 2 young men one Special Teams Player of the Week and one Scout Team Player of the Week. We'll let you pick and choose maybe where you want to start, but we got Smith and Damon both here today to receive those.
Yes, we do. Those are just two aspects of the game that are underappreciated sometimes.
Right.
You know, it's easy to play on Friday night, but if you don't prepare Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and get a realistic look, you're not really going to perform very well on Friday night. And special teams is overlooked, but it is a huge aspect, and I think OC touched on it. That kickoff after the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty may have changed the game. And we're not fortunate enough to get the ball in the end zone on kickoff, but we had 2 tackles made by our Special Teams Player of the Week inside the 20. And when you can do that, I mean, there's not a lot you can ask for. So, I mean, those are 2 really appreciated aspects of the game, and I was glad to see them.
Yeah, and we'll bring Smith up here. He's hanging out. He's saying, I like this Kitchen 218. And we'll present that to Smith Collier here, who is your Special Teams Player of the Week.
Good job, Smitty. Good job, Smitty.
Coach was giving him some shine a moment ago, and like you said, congrats, Smith, on a big win last week. And fantastic effort in the special teams. But it's not just on Friday nights. Let's talk a little bit about your Scout Team Player of the Week.
That's what I touched on. You know, a lot of people, obviously Alabama gets the light of being the capstone program in college football, and that's where they should. But Coach Saban touches on it a bunch. The reason so many of those guys get drafted is because they go against first-round picks every day. And when you go against first-round picks every day, the game's easy. And we try to stress that to our kids. We need a good look. We need a good look. We need a good look. And Junior, or Damon Turner is his name, we call him Junior. He has stepped up tremendously for us. And he gave us a really good look running the ball. He's developed a lot as a runner. The O-line does a phenomenal job as well for us in the scout team. So it's good to see those.
He's eating good, so it's hard to get his attention right now. We're going to get Smith Collier back up here as well. We want the people to see their faces out there. So we'll get him back up here. But again, this is Damon Turner. Slide down just a little bit, Coach. We'll get him in here as well.
Smitty.
That's Damon.
We got to get him a little camera time.
Hey,
If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right now.
He got his
guys.
hair retwisted. I mean, both of them in their Bobcat uniforms here.
Here we go, gentlemen. These are our first ever Leadership Logistics LLC. At least lean in and give a
lean
little
in.
smile.
Let them see that
there
smile.
We go,
There you
fellas.
go. There
Throw
you
up
go.
the deuces. Congrats to both Damon and Smitty on big wins in our special teams and Scout Team Player of the Week. Gentlemen, Coach, I don't know if y'all can hear him, but he was singing y'all's praises a second ago, so don't let him forget that, okay? And they were like, yeah, we do. We knew. They forget a little bit, but they're like, really, we knew.
Maybe a
we knew
little
all along.
camera shy. I've been around both of these fellas for quite some time. They don't mind talking a little bit.
Shout out Dangerfield. He's a good person to community. Help me out practice. And then Zoyan Randolph. Go Bobcats. Bobcat Nation. Let's ride.
Smitty, what you got on the mic for us real quick?
Just put in the work.
He said put it into work, and those two men did it. Hey, how about that, Coach? They're kind of being a few words, but that's kind of what the award is about, is the undersung, and they did a great job. Coach Tanner Holly, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck to the defense. Try and get a little sleep in the next 48 hours because it is going to be an explosive offense. We know what our offense has got, though, and, man, last year's game was fun. We hope we have another good broadcast and a good game on Friday night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Tanner Holly is the defensive coordinator of the Giles County Bobcats. They won last week 35-21 versus Lincoln County. Got a big matchup coming up on Friday night versus Nolensville. That game will be on the road. You can hear Chris and I on Pulaski Citizen Live. Scott Stewart will be there as well. It's going to be a fun Friday night. Week 2 of the high school football season is upon us. And again, once more, thanks to Leadership Logistics LLC presenting our first ever Special Teams and Scout Team Player of the Week honors. Those goes to Smith Collier and Damon Turner. When we come back, Bobcats head coach David O'Connor will join us for a final talk as we preview Nolensville and maybe even get a prediction out of the young man here. We'll see what he'll offer up.
We'll see. You know, he kind of holds everything close to the chest, so we'll see what we get out of it.
We'll welcome back OC. You are listening and watching exclusive coverage of the Bobcats Coaches Show, presented all season long by Leadership Logistics LLC. We're live at Kitchen 218, and we'll be right back after this.
Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency that helps companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you. Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose, to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
In the blink of an eye, we are back here on Pulaski Citizen Live. We're rejoined by Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. I'm Wade Neely alongside my main man, Chris Bledsoe, and we just handed out 2 pieces of hardware, our inaugural Leadership Logistics LLC Scout Team and Special Team Player of the Week. Coach, I know you know what goes on, obviously, behind the scenes, but there's a lot of scout team prep work that if you don't have a good scout team, especially when you're playing a team like we're going to play Friday night in Nolensville, you're dead in the water before you even start.
That's right. If we can't get a decent look of kind of what the other team's going to be doing come Friday night, boy, it makes a tough night Friday night, I can tell you that.
And we've seen that over the years. You touched on it. Chris and I have talked about it. A lot of folks in the community are talking about it. Last year's game versus Nolensville, one of the most electric regular season games in a long, long time. The Cats have to rally to win it. That was then, though. This is now. How does that Nolensville team stack up compared to last year? They end up 5-5, and they almost upset Page in the playoffs last year.
That's right. Page goes on to deep, to the finals, and then Nolensville really had them beat in the second round. That was a classic game as well. I think Nolensville's a little better this year. I think their quarterback has 12 more games of experience. His receivers are a little better. They're better up front, I think, offensively and defensive lines. It's going to be a big challenge for the Bobcats Friday night.
Coach, you've alluded to it. We talked about it. Obviously, their quarterback is a huge part of what they do. Their receiving core, super talented. Again, talk to us about, obviously, this week is a lot different than last week. You had a lot of guys that played up front in the box last week because of what Lincoln County did. What are some things that you guys have done defensively to kind of prepare yourself for what you're going to see Friday night?
We've this week we've worked a little bit more on a nickel defense, changed some things around. May play a little bit more man coverage so we don't get lost in coverage as much this week. We've brought another couple guys on the edge for edge rushers. Try to keep the guy in the pocket, make him get the ball off that launch point a little earlier. Defensively, I mean, it's just a huge challenge, and we can help ourselves out by great amounts defensively by possessing the ball offensively, burning some clock, slowing the game down. Try to minimize the number of possessions that the quarterback has.
And you touched on it there. Anytime you talk about teams that have a huge offensive threat, usually your quarterback and wide receivers, everybody immediately turns their attention to the secondary. But talk to us about how important those big hog mollies up front are going to be, being able to apply pressure to that quarterback to, like you said, get him off that spot a lot quicker.
Well, our number one concern is we have a little bit of lack of depth of guys that can do those type things. Our big concern right now is keeping enough guys up front fresh to be able to put pressure on the quarterback. Because you know what they do, they'll start stretching that thing vertically and horizontally, and them defensive linemen are going to run themselves to death early. So that's the reason I think it's important for our offense to control the ball, control the clock, limit their possessions, and maybe we can slow it down enough that our guys don't probably all cramp up before the game's over.
And one thing, again, I know you're a huge advocate. Again, we talk about it every week about those guys up front. Offensively, not a lot of times getting a lot of credit. You had 2 young sophomores in Javion Dudley and Caden Reinhardt who played huge minutes last week. Talk to us about how pleased you are with their performance, what they were able to do for you in a big-time ball game last week.
Yeah, those 2 guys, along with Curtis Cooper at tight end, those 3 sophomores did a great job for us up front. And I'm expecting them to continue to do a great job. Those are just good, big, young guys. They are the size line. They've got some height. They're right around 6 foot. They all move pretty well. So those are the kind of guys that we need to continue to develop as this season goes on, and for us to make a really good late season push.
Talking with Bobcats head coach David O'Connor here on the Leadership Logistics LLC Bobcat Coaches Show. And, Coach, I guess I got to ask maybe a dumb question at this point. We've talked so much about the defense for the Bobcats. What would you like to change maybe offensively, if anything, going into week 2?
not a lot. I would like to change that that we maybe do a little bit of limit those penalties on the holding calls. I think we got to do a better job of keeping the defenders between our feet and hands on. We let them get outside of our body frame. We still got that hand on. We go get that holding call. Maybe do a little bit better job of going 50-50 run to pass. We always have that in there. It just got to a point last week that I felt that, we're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a run. Let's stay safe and let's hold on to the ball, because I know we can score every time. I mean, because they could not. I didn't feel like they could stop our run game, our guys up front. But at the same time, I felt like we possibly could have put the game away a little earlier by throwing the ball more. But that I guess that little fear of an incomplete pass at the wrong time and you turn the ball over makes it a little tougher.
No doubt, and we did mention special teams earlier, and we even gave out a plaque for Special Teams Player of the Week. Is this a game that could come down to the little breaks in the special teams?
No doubt. And this is a game that definitely that Chase Gardner could win for us, not only with his kicking and his punting, but maybe possibly with a long field goal.
Coach, there's no secret to any of the Bobcat fans out there. Chase Gardner has probably been my favorite Bobcat for about the last 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
Super impressed, and I have to know, was this done strategically? There's no doubt Chase Gardner can kick the ball into the end zone probably every possession if needed be. Last week we saw multiple times on kickoffs he placed the ball nearly at the 1 yard line, which is just perfect. Talk to us about how he, again, affects your team.
Yeah, now, to be honest with you, that was not something we planned to do. We planned on him kicking the thing in the end zone. I think he wouldn't know, not necessarily at the top of his game last week. He had told me earlier in the week that he was feeling a little bit of a dead leg from doing so much kicking. So he tried to back off a little bit of his kicking a little bit, let him get refreshed. He iced it and used a little the massager to try to develop that back. And so his leg's a little dead. Early in the year he's kicking everything out of the end zone, and now he's having a little bit of tough time. But I feel like he's the guy that we're going to depend on. And if our kickoff coverage does like it should, I mean, most NFL teams, they're going to kick the ball to the 1. They want to pin them inside the 20 these days. And if he keeps kicking the thing to the 1 or 2, we're perfectly happy with it.
Always great to have an asset like him, Coach. Final thoughts from me here. There's no doubt about it. It's a tall order going into Friday night. You need a complete ball game. What are some things that you guys, again, have talked about being ready to play in that atmosphere going in Friday night?
Yeah, it is a huge challenge. I'm excited about it for our kids, and for this group of kids to develop those leaders that it's going to take for us to get past these big challenges. Because we've got, I think I saw in the paper, Nolensville maybe ranked 7th in 5A. I see where Page is number 1 in 5A. So our schedule is littered with high quality opponents out of region. And I think those games, and this one of this Friday night, is when it's going to decide how deep we're going to be able to play.
It should be a good one. We're excited, as always, for the broadcast coming up on Friday. Our first trip to Nolensville. We're excited. We know Bobcat Nation will travel as well. Coach, I just got to ask you. I kind of always feel like I ask you this, but it's worth mentioning again. What must the Bobcats do on Friday night if they want to go up to Nolensville and get a win?
I feel like it's pretty much always the same thing. We're going to we need to go out and play good offense. We need to play good defense, special teams. But at the end of the day, if we can score one more point than them, Wade, we'll win.
He's a genius, folks. Somehow, some way, every week he has more and more wisdom. Coach, I look forward to seeing you on Friday night. We're looking forward to a great game, and best of luck and safe travels.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much. Bobcats head coach David O'Connor breaking things down. And, Chris, it is always fun to chat with OC. And we got a great crowd here at Kitchen 218 on our Leadership Logistics LLC Coaches Show. Show number 2 in the books. We take our show on the road Friday night. It's bad enough that you're playing Nolensville. It's always going to be tough when you take on a team that talented, a 5A ball club. But you got to go on the road. But I kind of like the optimism from Coach O'Connor. If we're going to be the team we want to be late in the season, postseason, 2, 3, maybe even 4 rounds deep into playoffs. These are the games that are going to battle test you.
Without a doubt, Wade. And again, there's no secret to anybody that knows anything about 3A football, especially in our region that we're in. It's not one of the toughest statewide. There's no doubt. There's no secret to that. So part of the way as a coaching staff that you try to remedy not having such a tough region is playing a lot of talented non-conference groups. And that's what this Bobcat coaching staff has done. There's a lot of talent outside of our conference that we're going to have a chance to play against. And you got to compete at a high level in games that, again, you want to win, but for all practical and playoff and state championship purposes have no meaning to them. You know, so again, it's a great test here, great dress rehearsal. I know the Cats are going to be super excited. They're going to be prepared. It's going to be a fun night. Can't wait for Friday.
It's going to be good. You and I will be on the call. Scott will be there as well. We hope that you guys will join us. Again, if you've not downloaded the Mixler app, a chance to do so. We've got a couple tutorial videos for a few folks. We had a record-breaking crowd on Friday night. Thank you to all of those that tuned in. And again, Richland is off this week. We'll have the show on Friday night. And then next week, Richland returns. Giles County returns. It is football season. We were excited about it being here last week, but partner, we're just right deep in the thick of things now.
Hey, man, we're in full swing. And, again, I said it last week. I'll say it again. This is like Christmas time for me, man. You know, when school's out, you're out for 2 weeks, you get presents. I mean, you can't beat it. It's just super exciting to see what this Bobcat club is doing, what the Raiders are doing. Looking forward to seeing them next week after that big win last week against Cornersville. So, again, we're just excited about what's going on right now. Super excited to be a part of Pulaski Citizen Live and what we're able to do with this community. I know we can't turn our camera and let you guys see here, but we're in front of a raucous live studio audience here. Again, I kind of got goosebumps thinking about what we're going into the next couple days.
No doubt about it. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in tonight. Tell your friends you can watch this show whether it's tomorrow or Friday, getting ready for the football game, as we've had a blast here at Kitchen 218. That will conclude week 2 of the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented all season long by Leadership Logistics, LLC. For my partner, Chris Bledsoe, and for Bridgeforth head coach Brian Hollister, for offensive coordinator David Gardner, for Giles County defensive coordinator Tanner Holly, Smith Collier and Damon Turner also in the house, and for Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. Hopefully I snuck them all in there. I'm Wade Neely saying so long. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you on Friday night as the Bobcats head on up to Nolensville. This has been the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented by Leadership Logistics, LLC.